Over the last century, the name Chris-Craft has become synonymous with American high-quality powerboats. And these extreme boats are built in one very extreme factory.
We feel that Chris-Craft created an extreme factory because we build extreme products.
Founder Christopher Columbus Smith built his first boat in 1874, unknowingly setting a standard in American boat manufacturing, creating an elegant and stylish craft that would be the preferred vessel of celebrities and moguls the world over.
It's always been innovative, it's always been beautiful, it's always been extremely high quality. The result of all that is it drew in people that had very high taste, and that gets into the celebrity world and some of the more discerning purchasers, if you will, that have existed throughout history.
Of course, the Chris-Craft of today looks a lot different from the boats of Rudy Vallée or Elvis Presley. While certain vintage details have been preserved, the mechanics and materials used in today's Chris-Crafts are thoroughly modern. And of course, the price tag has been updated as well, with newer models ranging from $30,000 all the way up to $700,000. And like their boats, Chris-Craft's incredible factory is also an ultra-modern venture. Located in Sarasota, Florida, the Chris-Craft manufacturing facility sits on 20 acres of prime real estate, just minutes from the Gulf of Mexico.
At our current production rates, we'll have about 30 to 35 products all the way through the system at one time.
And each day starts here.
Good morning, everyone. I'm glad to see everybody here, start the week out. Obviously, look at the production schedules that we got on the wall and make sure that we're paying attention to all of those and what they have for us this week.
This mandatory meeting is critical, as all of the departments, from the fiberglass team, the woodworkers, the electrical specialists, the upholstery department to the engine and assembly team, are all working simultaneously. 175 employees building boats under one roof, from start to finish.
All right, let's go to work. Thank you very much.
An important aspect to carrying on the Chris-Craft legacy is the careful preservation of original molds. Some have been saved and reused for nearly 50 years, and this is step one on the factory floor: mold preparation.
We build quality in right from the beginning, and that starts in mold care.
Each Chris-Craft boat is a product of these molds, built out in sections, with teams of craftsmen focusing on either the hull, the deck, or the smaller parts known as the liners or stringers.
We have hull specialists, we have deck specialists, and we have liner specialists. And so we take each one of those groups of people that are trained, and we actually put them into those processes to ensure that it comes out the same every single time.
Every single day, this mold go in there. We get a guy to go look at the mold, make sure the mold's in good condition to run, and that mold get ready to spray that night.
The hull is formed by using a 6-step lamination process with a powerful gel coat, then several layers of biaxial and triaxial fiberglass to ensure a watertight seal.
Gel coat is the actual paint, if you will, that in the marine industry is used on most products.
As the gel coat is applied, the team is constantly checking the thickness with a mill gauge, measuring the layers by the millimeter.
Every boat that we spray, every 2 or 3 feet, we check the thickness of the gel coat. It should be 18 to 22 mils, and that should be every section of the mold.
Throughout Chris-Craft's varied history, the company has adapted with the times, staying relevant and viable as the industry evolved. One of the major changes was made when America's oldest boat company switched from wooden hulls to fiberglass, which, after the gel coat application, is the next step in the process.
It's basically chemistry. And if you get your chemistry right, you're going to have a good fiberglass boat.
Being more durable and maintainable than wood and weighing far less, these flexible filaments of actual glass, called fiberglass, are applied to the hull molds via specialized chopper guns and set to cure before the mold is removed.
Training your people how to work with the proper chemistries, having equipment that gets rid of some of the chance and variance in it, of course, is critical, and we use that today. Teaching them how to roll out properly, do all of those things that are necessary to make a very high-quality product. Wood is a wonderful material, it's beautiful, but it comes with some inherent flaws in it.
While not a new material, fiberglass only became prominent as a boat-building material in the 1950s. But by 1965, Chris-Craft was building the largest fiberglass boats in the world.
There are advantages to fiberglass, and that's the reason you see them everywhere today. The repeatability is just perfect every time. Fiberglass boats give you the advantage of having some shapes that you can't necessarily get out of wood.
Though fiberglass offers more options when it comes to design cues, the classic body shape of these boats has endured over the years, employing the classic tumble-home design cues of early warships, which is the narrowing of the hull above the waterline.
The tumble-home shape is out of the classic designs where Chris-Craft originally came from. That was a shape that was built into the wooden boats in days past and from the origins, if you will. And that turn is a beautiful style. It just yields a wonderful organic shape. And the result of all that has been carried on over all the years, even into our latest models.
As the company adapts and expands with consumer demand, they've introduced new makes and models, including several innovative designs introduced in the past year. From the new vertical bow, Carina and Capri, all the way to the traditional deep V flared bow Corsair models and the 20-foot Bullet. All of the Chris-Craft boats feature either open deck or closed deck design, all of which preserve that classic tumble-home shape, which makes Chris-Craft immediately recognizable and speaks to the original DNA of the brand. But for the next stage of the build process, that beautiful tumble-home design has a tendency to create problems.
So much tumble-home and shape in our hulls and decks that they're a relatively difficult pull.
This is a crucial step when the fiberglass pieces are separated from the molds. While the hull and molded pieces are formed and shaped, the team at Chris-Craft are simultaneously assembling the interior, wood trim, and wiring systems.
Some boats takes us about 12 hours, some boats can take us 40 hours, depends on the size.
It's all happening when we come back. The talented team of craftsmen at Chris-Craft Boats in Sarasota, Florida, are using the knowledge acquired from their 140-year legacy to create some of the most beautiful and dependable mid-sized vessels on the market. After spraying the fiberglass and allowing the pieces to cure, the team prepares for the delicate pull process, whereby the solidified pieces are removed from the mold.
We bring it outside so we can release it from the mold. And you have to be very careful because someone can get seriously hurt behind this.
This is a 28-footer here. We got all the hull laminate, all the stringers in. It's ready to be pulled right now.
At this stage, the team weighs the hull to make certain there are no abnormalities. Being under or over the calculated weight means there was either too much or not enough fiberglass used during the lamination phase. And with the parts released from the molds, the team moves on to the cutting department. Cutting is an involved process. Boring holes for the electrical system, smoothing and removing excess fiberglass, and sometimes replacing entire surfaces with additional material.
Where your console gonna go, where your door gonna go, where your intake box is gonna go. That's all get done in there.
Simultaneously, we're building upholstery, we're building wire kits, we have teak getting ready for it, we're building cabinets, any kind of wood part that we will need in the actual assembly operation. Those are all happening in our offline shops so that when the hulls and decks actually come into our assembly process, the rest of the parts are there so we can put the boat together.
The upholstery department uses a variety of fabrics, materials, old-world craftsmanship, and modern technology to ensure the interior of the boat is just as elegant as the exterior. Here, enormous sheets of leather are rolled out and prepared to be precision cut by the CNC machine.
In our upholstery department, we have a CNC machine that cuts all of our fabric, all of our vinyls, exactly to shape off our computer programs.
CNC machines are also used to shape the hardware that comprises the chairs, panels, and fixtures. Once the pieces are cut, they head to the sewing department, where the covers to seats and panels are finalized. Before the leather can make its way onto the seats, the stainless frames are wrapped in plastic-coated foam, which prevents deterioration from the constant exposure to caustic sea air. Once the foam is in place, the seats are wrapped in leather by Chris Craft's team of expert upholsterers. And finally, with the help of an advanced computer program, an embroidery machine stitches the company logo into every headrest. The finished pieces are then assembled and then placed in storage until installation. Chris Craft's attention to detail and insistence on producing a quality product can be seen in the wood finishing found in every boat, which begins with a selection of high-quality woods.
Our woods and our cherry woods and our walnuts that we currently use today are all domestic manufactured veneers, which makes them thicker than you can buy from overseas. They're 11-core plywood, and they're both A-sided, both sides. Most manufacturers never do that. They'll go to an A-in-1 versus an AA, which means the interior doesn't look nearly as good as the exterior. We use AA. We think that's an extreme step that we go to.
And since all the modern Chris Craft's hulls are fiberglass, the wood accents act as a tip of the hat to the classic boats of yesteryear. And all of the wood is shaped by some of the best carpenters and fabricators in the business. Each piece of wood is finished with 3 coats of varnish to ensure that every surface not only looks great, but will last season after season. Chris Craft also uses their CNC machines for some of their woodwork, but much of it is still done by hand, especially the teak decks up top.
We take the decks that are raw, we locate the teak, mask everything off, take it off, do the grinding, lay the epoxy down, screw the teak down. The whole inside of the deck, the cockpit floor, all the hatches, swim platform, sun pad, anywhere you can put teak on these boats, we put it. Lay out the epoxy. We're gonna grab the rail, put it up here, screw it down. We're going the wrong way, probably in. Pull all the tape off as the epoxy kicks off. When it dries, you get a beautiful seam like that one, as opposed to the raw deck like this.
For boat decks, teak was the original non-slip surface before the introduction of synthetics. And though it's practical and helps to enhance the boat's overall appearance, it's not the easiest material to work with.
It's a delicate wood. It's soft. Screw something down through it too hard, it will crack, it'll split on you, and you gotta take it off, repair it, use another piece. It's extremely expensive, so that's high dollar. On the deck, the surface has been scuffed up so it has something to adhere to. Some boats takes us about 12 hours, some boats can take us 40 hours, depends on the size.
Each boat is carefully constructed and handled, from the delicate woodwork to their elaborate wiring harnesses. Chris Craft harnesses are made in-house with the varied types, gauges, and lengths cut to specifications and delivered to electrical engineers, who then configure the wires and attach them to the appropriate panels.
Our wiring department we have here is a little bit unique. Most manufacturers of boats today don't do what we do. We actually manufacture our wiring harnesses complete. The panels we manufacture, we actually put all the instrumentation into, all the breaker systems. So everything that we use electrically in our boats, from battery cables to instrument panels, is all manufactured in-house in our wiring department. And we're very proud of that particular step that we have in our operation.
These unwieldy and extensive layouts will ultimately power some unique features, like this fully mobilized deck floor. With the customized electrical systems in place, the team moves on to installing the power plant, which varies by model. This particular boat, a Launch 25, features a dual-prop 300 horsepower Volvo engine.
When the boats come into us, it's just a shell. We do all the hull rigging, the wire harnesses, the outdrives, the water tanks, the fuel tanks. You know, we slowly bring the boat to life, and then by the time that we are finished with it and roll it up to the decking station, it looks like a boat.
Finally, with the power installed, it's on to the last-minute details. All of the above-board instrumentation and upholstery takes place in this final stage of production. It's an extremely precise and maintained process in one very extreme factory.
After we go through the decking process, it comes into what we call our final rig, final assembly department. That's where we do all the final assembly of putting in the bucket seats and the controls and the windshields and the parts that weren't done earlier on, and take it all the way to completion. It's very modern, very innovative. In our final steps of final rig, we think it's critically important that every single product actually get run in the water. So we take them down and actually put them in a pond that we have located right here on our property. And we run the product, we steer it, we make sure it shifts properly, both forward and reverse, accelerates correctly, and steers correctly and handles, so all the systems are run out in total before we will ship that product. That's done on every boat that we build, from the smallest to the largest. Our factory and the production that we go through here, they are not the easiest of all boats to process. We have tri-split hull molds and things that most people would just say are crazy. It yields a beautiful shape, and so it's worth the effort to us.
Whether it's Ford's calculated precision of production of thousands of vehicles, the innovative designs of Trek's latest two-wheeled marvel, or the multitasking efficiency and lofty standards of Chris Craft's Florida plant, each one of these facilities is raising the bar in their respective industry, making them all extreme factories.